What's up and welcome to the video. I'm Dr. Daniel Ricciardi, gut health expert, licensed pharmacist, fitness enthusiast, and creator of SIBO Shortcut. For someone trying to improve their gut health, microbiome, and even improve irritable bowel syndrome symptoms, aka IBS symptoms, there's a lot of supplements, lifestyle changes, diet changes that you can do to help with this. But what about exercise? This video is going to attempt to answer the question, are there certain types of exercise that are better for gut health than others? There's an infinite number of ways that we can get exercise. So it would be impossible to compare and contrast all of them. But in this video, we're going to look at 3 different types of exercise, which are yoga, aerobic exercise, and anaerobic exercise, which is resistance training. And for each of these 3, we're going to look at the available data on number 1, their impact on the gut microbiome, and number 2, their impact on irritable bowel syndrome, aka IBS symptoms. First up, we have yoga. This recent 2023 study by the American Journal of Gastroenterology looked at how well yoga worked for IBS symptoms based on the IBS symptom severity scale, which takes into account several factors such as abdominal pain, number of days with abdominal pain, bloating and distension, their satisfaction with their bowel habits, and an overall quality of life score. This scale ranges from 0 to 500, where 0 means you have 0 symptoms and 500 means your symptoms are very, very bad. We had 2 groups. We had Group A that did yoga meditation for 8 weeks, and Group B, which only received information and strategies for improving IBS, such as mind-gut strategies and mind-body strategies. For the results, which you can see here in this chart, for the people that were doing yoga, they experienced about a 55-point improvement. Again, this is on a subjective IBS SSS scale, going from about 255 to 200, again, about 55-point reduction, whereas the control group, which received the information, had about a 23-point reduction, going from about 236 to 213 on the IBS SSS scale. So on the surface, yoga seemed to be a little bit better based on these numbers, but according to fancy statistical analysis terms, the difference did not seem to be statistically significant, meaning you can't claim based on this that yoga was better than the information. Looking at another study, this 2016 review by the Journal of Clinical Gastroenterology and Hepatology looked at 6 clinical trials comparing patients that did yoga for IBS compared to not doing yoga. And this review found that the beneficial effects of yoga on GI symptoms, quality of life, and anxiety was found when compared with no treatment. Individual studies reported considerable effects on IBS-related symptoms in favor of yoga compared with control group, and yoga also seemed to be equally effective as a walking program and improved patient-reported outcomes. So according to this study, yoga seems to be better than doing nothing, which you definitely would expect, and it also seems to be as effective as walking for controlling IBS-type symptoms. Nothing really surprising here, as yoga is good physical exercise as well as having positive effects for mental health and spiritual health. Moving on now to aerobic training and resistance training. This 2023 review by Nutrients Journal looked at 28 studies and compared different types of exercise to see how they impacted the gut microbiome in 2 different ways. The first way being microbial diversity, which we want more of. This means that there's more types of bacteria in your microbiome. If there's too few types of bacteria in your microbiome, it's more likely that one can get overgrown and cause you a lot of digestive issues. And then the second thing I kind of just alluded to just now, but it's the relative abundance of these bacteria. This just means having good proportions of certain types of bacteria compared to other ones. This study took into consideration the frequency, time, and intensity of exercise. Most of the studies looked at aerobic type exercise, but there's also some ones including resistance training as well. The findings of the review are in this little chart here. So some of the findings include higher intensity and hydration exercise appeared important for microbiota change. Adherence to exercise is necessary if changes seen with exercise, especially in untrained individuals, are to be maintained. And then it says aerobic and concurrent exercise interventions. Concurrent just means they do a combination of aerobic and resistance training. That resulted in a gut microbiota change. So ultimately, according to this review, this found that moderate to high, but especially high intensity exercise for more than 30 minutes, 3 to 4 times a week resulted in the most consistent change for our gut microbiota when doing this for 8 weeks. And again, when I say changes in microbiome, I'm referring to the diversity and the relative abundance, which are both good things to have. Moving on, this 2024 review by BMC, Sports Science, Medicine, and Rehabilitation Journal looked at 7 studies to see if resistance training could impact the microbiome in a positive way. The results of this study show that resistance training could potentially change the gut microbiome in terms of a few things, including decreasing zonulin level, which means you'd have less leaky gut, and also increase mucin production, which can help reduce inflammation in the intestine. But ultimately, the composition of the intestinal microbiome was not affected. Per this review, it seemed like resistance training didn't really have an effect on the actual bacteria in the microbiome in a positive or negative way. Finally, this 2023 review investigated 13 studies to see what impact exercise has on IBS symptoms. This chart here kind of gives a graphical representation of what this review found. It took into account the frequency, intensity, time, type, and volume of exercise of both aerobic and anaerobic resistance training, and just kind of lumped them all together in this chart here. So what this is saying is, according to this review and its findings, whether you do aerobic exercise or anaerobic resistance training, if you do not enough and you're in this physical inactivity zone, you're going to have more IBS type symptoms. If you're in this moderate zone, you're going to have likely fewer IBS type symptoms. But if you're really going at an ultra high intensity, this may actually cause you to have more gastrointestinal symptoms and worse general health. And it gives some proposed mechanisms of why this may happen. Past studies suggest that doing exercise too much that's too intense can have negative implications on delayed stomach emptying, potentially causing leaky gut, reducing the immune system function in the intestine, amongst other things. Speaking from personal experience now, I've been doing really strenuous activity, mainly lifting, for a really long time now, 3 to 5 days a week. I've done this strenuous activity when I had poor gut health, back when I had SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, and I've still been doing it now for the 4+ years since, after I don't have SIBO and I've had really good gut health. So for me, I haven't really noticed any difference whatsoever. So if you're somebody that loves doing strenuous exercise numerous days a week, this doesn't necessarily mean you need to stop doing it or that it's negatively affecting your digestive symptoms, as everyone's body's different. But it may be helpful to also incorporate some more restorative, relaxing types exercise and activities, such as walking, such as meditation, or such as yoga. This may be able to reduce the stress that's caused by your vigorous activity and calm down your central nervous system. Ultimately, there's no substitute for doing what feels intuitively best for you, as nobody knows your body better than you do. With that said, 2 takeaways from this video: doing some form of exercise is probably better than doing none. And then number 2, it seems way too difficult based on the studies and information available to actually make a determination which exercise is better for gut health. With that said, all 3 types that we looked at, yoga, aerobic exercise, and resistance training, all seem like they may have the potential to help with gut health. I'd recommend choosing one or more of these types of exercise that you enjoy. So when you're doing it, you'll not only get the physical benefits of the exercise, but the mental health benefits as well, because mental health is really tied into physical health. If you don't have good mental health, it gets way more challenging to have good physical health. Really like my gym, Squatch Frontier Fitness, here in Austin, Texas. There's a great community there. Everybody talks to each other, very friendly. So for me, it's not just lifting, it's also really good social time, and it's a really good stress reliever. That is all for today. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, please like and subscribe to my channel for more gut health related content. If you're new here, I post a new video every Monday and YouTube Shorts daily throughout the week. Since you watched till the end, I think you'll enjoy one of these 2 videos next. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.